Have you ever met the connector? Well, he ponders, he helps, he creates, he writes, he speaks. He basically connects people and brings them together. I speak about Paul Solano of PS and All Marketing Group. At psandallmarketinggroup.com, you will receive an assembled group of Paul's contacts and connections that cross into many sectors of life. Please contact Paul Solano at 617-240-4130 or psandallmarketinggroup@gmail.com if you are in the market for a wide array of services. Again, please contact The Connector, Paul Solano at 617-240-4130 or psandallmarketinggroup@gmail.com with any questions. And now, here's Paul Solano, the host of Paul Ponders.
Welcome to Hashtag Paul Ponders. I've really enjoyed bringing you fun, informed, intriguing, and modern podcasts. Many thanks to Hashtag Pod Pro Entertainment. Today's collaborating sponsor, Scott Albertson of Hashtag Project142.org, Riverworks Credit Union, NMLS number 410564, and Remax Renaissance Realty of Reading. Thanks for listening, rating, reviewing, and subscribing. Let Hashtag Paul Ponders begin. Greetings, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well today. Well, this is a very special episode for me. I know I often say that, but this truly is a very special episode. I'm very honored and privileged to have my long-lost cousin, Bruce Bennett, on this podcast. Bruce, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome.
That's so strange to hear long-lost cousin, but it's so true.
It is indeed, and that's a podcast for another day. But for those of you who do not know, Bruce Bennett is a musician from Boston, Mass., and he's a songwriter, he's a producer, he's a guitarist, he's a bassist, he's a music business entrepreneur, and he has worked with thousands of musicians and bands throughout New England, doing recording, producing, mastering, live sound, and disc duplication. So, Bruce, I welcome you again. Great to have you
Thank
on,
you.
Paul Ponders. It's great to have you on. And why don't we talk about your most recent experience? You are the lead of the Shot of Poison, a cover band for the band Poison, and you just returned from Sturgis. So tell us about that experience.
So lifelong always wanted to be a musician, play in front of live crowds. Here I am, just turned 60, and I'm playing very actively in a national touring tribute to the band Poison. The band, the name of the band is Shot of Poison, and it came together in 2017. And a bunch of friends got together and said, "Hey, let's do something that no one else is doing." And we did it. We all agreed to do it right, treat it like a business, work hard, do a good job at it. And the hard work paid off very quickly. Some great accolades in the form of getting some great shows, large shows like, oh my God, NASCAR races, very large cinemas, theaters, I should say, festivals like Rocklahoma, Monsters on the Mountain. But one of the big things that happened for Shot of Poison was we were discovered by Susie Fox from Fox Productions in Hollywood, who was working with Jimmy Fallon to find a couple hundred of America's top tributes. And out of their searching, we got down to one of the top 20, and we were on this TV show called Class of the Cover Bands. And ever since we were on that TV show, which was Jimmy Fallon's, I guess his push to try to go up against The Voice and American Idol and shows like that. Typical show. With this show is a band goes against another band, and it's more like reality TV. You learn about the band, you see the bands play, and they play against each other, and then there'd be a grand winner at the end. But being on that series, show 7, was phenomenal because success by association, a lot of people involved, a lot of people recognize us. You now see us being promoted on Good Day America or Good Morning America. You see us on news, you see us on commercials worldwide. And fortunately for us, out of the 20 bands, 10 episodes, they chose us playing Poison's Nothing But a Good Time for most of the commercials.
Wow.
And so that made Poison very happy. And that led into Poison, namely Bret Michaels of Poison, the lead singer, to go on and publicly support us, endorse us, recognize us. And out of the 20 bands, 10 episodes, he's the only actual original act that recognized the band representing them on this series. And
Wow.
we eventually went on and played a stage with him, played a song. And since that, we've been getting bigger and bigger shows. So now we can play less shows, but bigger shows. And the most recent, what you just said, was Sturgis. We did a run of 5 shows in North and South Dakota, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, tiring, 5 nights, 90-minute sets in a row.
Wow.
And 4 of the shows we headlined. One of the shows we opened for the 80s famous guy Don Dokken, and that was great. And yeah, very blessed to do what we do at our age, and at a level where you can have fun, make money, and travel and see the world.
How cool is that? It really is.
Super cool.
So when did you start your love of? Where did you find your love of music?
Oh, that goes back to when I was 5 or 6 years old, listening to Monkees records with my sister.
Hmm. Oh wow.
And, just hear a song and wanted to emulate that song, play that song. And you'd see the TV shows, you see the Beatles on the movies, or you'd see them on TV, you'd see the Monkees, and right down to even the cartoon, the Archies. You want to perform and get, just get that love, that ego boost of, hey, look at me, I'm playing this song and everybody loves me. But beyond the wanting for recognition and that feeling and that ego boost and that dopamine hit, me, it was just I loved music so much. I wanted to play and recreate what I heard, and started doing it. And my main instrument of choice was guitar. And then hear a song, learned how to play. Can I read charts in a little bit? Sure, I can, but I'm primarily all trained by ear, and it's learning how to play something that you hear, and you kind of find what you can play, what you can't play easily. Not difficult, but I'm a lefty. A lot of people don't know this about me. I only do one thing righty, and that's play guitar. And so I was probably maybe a little slow out of the chute learning and getting more comfortable, but eventually it all came together, and I played. And playing guitar and learning songs eventually led to writing songs and taking them, formatting your own chords and coming up with lyrics. And then that eventually led to, oh, I'm playing songs, I'm writing songs. Next step, record songs. Okay, after going to a recording studio a couple times when I was younger, I can build one of these things. And so I built a recording studio. And then eventually that recording studio led to a duplication business.
Hmm.
It kind of just kept exponentially growing, the snowball,
Right.
into cool stories and cool things.
Right.
But everything I've always done has always been to support my love of music and keep me active in and on a music scene, locally and now nationally.
That is absolutely fabulous. So I've been to concerts in past years. For 18 years, I was a food and beverage manager for the Blue Hills Bank Pavilion, whatever the pavilion name was at the time, working with a concessions group. And I would always see towards the back an area where people would be taking orders to have that concert recorded and to pick up the order at the end of the show. And little did I know that it was you who was responsible for creating this
Yeah.
concept. How
Yeah, that sounds
cool.
to me like, yeah, that must have been Instant Live Concerts,
Yes.
which was on paper and in discussion since 1999 with early SFX Entertainment / Clear Channel, which eventually became Live Nation. And we started that whole program beta testing it at the Paradise, a nightclub in Boston, Massachusetts. I want to say I think the first band we ever did experimented on was Letters to Cleo. But what Instant Live Concerts is basically you have a sound man that kind of tags his equipment next to the main house board, whether it's multi-channel or just simple stereo with some live mics, but you're making a live recording of that show and creating instantly a master that can then be duplicated onto discs waiting to be copied, pre-printed, packaging ready to go. And the fan experience is, hey, did you like tonight's show? buy the concert. What? Yeah, tonight's show that you just watched. 6 minutes after the last chord and they said goodnight was hit, you can buy a CD at the front door. And it worked. I signed off my right to patent for that to Clear Channel simply because I didn't think it was patentable, because let's call it how it is. Churches have been doing it for years. They would record sermons.
Hmm.
So people and grandma who may have been homesick, missed church, they would record the sermon, make quick cassette copies, run it home, and then Nana, whoever was sick, got to listen to the sermon for the day or the week. So I was responsible for all of the discs, all the packaging. At the very, very beginning, um, being there, making sure all the shows got recorded properly on the right equipment. And then that went quick. That went from, oh my God, from one venue to another venue, from one band to another band, and next thing you know, the Allman Brothers are doing it. Um, Daryl Hall and John Oates are doing it. The Black Crowes, Phil Lesh, Grateful Dead, Kiss, Peter Frampton. Can you pick up some of those names I'm dropping?
Oh, sure. Godsmack. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure if Godsmack ever actually did the live recording, but I will tell you this: I stopped counting at about 720 national acts,
Wow.
and I actually still have all the masters. And I got a great CD collection. And there were some shows that I'm like, when did we do Bon Jovi? Oh, we recorded it, but we didn't dupe it. I'm like, well, it was so big, and I had so many employees. I didn't even know it got to a point 5, 6 years later. Well, I just didn't even know what bands we were doing. I had 35 employees, and we could be doing anywhere from 80 to 90 orders a day. And a lot of the bands like Kiss or the Allman Brothers or Super Suckers or the Decemberists, or just keep going on and on. We'd always have a base number that we would pre-print, pre-package, and have ready to dupe at a show and sell at a show. And whatever may or may not have sold at a show would then go into some form of distribution. And at that point, there was a thing called Sony Red. It was a famous distribution channel. And even though this was CDR technology, they were still allowing it on in their format. And we had many, many bands that were selling so well that we would go back and reduplicate the show after the fact, like Allman Brothers live in, I don't know, Arcadia, New York, wherever. It's just name a city, town. I'm like, there's so many famous They always seem to focus around amphitheaters. Jones Beach. Mansfield. I still call it Great Woods. I'm not even sure what they're calling it these days. And I guess I'm finding out that we also did it at what I call harbor-like tents,
Right. Exactly.
which is, forget how you referred to it, but I don't even know
The
what they're calling
pavilion.
it.
The pavilion.
Pavilion,
Now it's the
correct,
Leader
yeah.
Bank Pavilion.
Leader Bank Pavilion, right.
It's just a beautiful theater, just a beautiful venue on the waterfront. It really is. And I believe in the past, we talked about Charlie Daniels, the CDB, the band.
We did that tour, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. A fascinating tour. I've always been a big Charlie Daniels band fan.
Yeah, occasionally we get back one signed or whatever. I might actually even have a signed Charlie Daniels disc there. But I'll tell you, I'll never forget one time we did Peter Frampton, and he did a 6-show run, and his first show, the crowd was phenomenal. But by the third show, the band was playing perfectly. And he's like, can you guys help by taking the crowd from this show and put it on this one? Well, no, this is a live CD. I guess we can on the post run, but not on the live run.
Right.
But one of my favorite experiences was they decided to do a multi-track recording live of the band Kiss, which is one of my favorite bands growing up. Certainly heavily influenced me on songwriting and guitar playing. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm flying down to these 3 shows in Texas, because it was going to start in San Antonio, then go up to Dallas, and then come back down to Houston, which is, as you know, it's a big state. So you can say 3 shows, 3 days in a row. This was 2004. It was a band ZO2, then Poison, incidentally, and then Kiss. And it was only recording the band Kiss. And I'm like, you know what? This is huge, because by the third show, it's going to be in Houston, which I believe was a pretty major hub for headquarters for Live Nation at the time. So we wanted it to go pretty flawless because this was going to open the door in '04 to many other national acts. So I flew down and I somehow ended up behind the mixing board helping them produce it because even though the kid was very good with the 40-channel digital Sony mixing board, he didn't know who did what in Kiss and when solos were. And I'm like, step aside, I got this. And I'll never forget, you'll love this. I was driving from San Antonio up to Dallas just with this big grin on my face going, I just mixed Kiss last night. It's kind of like, it's Kiss Alive, 1 Alive, 2 Alive, 3. Oh my God. And the album I listened to thousands of times. I just mixed live one of my favorite bands. And as I'm talking, my sister Doreen, I'm driving down some main route in Texas. I'm like, it's like I'm in my own little world. It's crazy. Look at me. And I swear to God, the sign says Bruceville. There's a city in Texas called Bruceville as I'm
I love
driving
it.
by.
That's great. Now tell me about your great musical accomplishment with the soundtrack for the NASCAR.
Oh, that started out simple, but it ended up being really killer. It's networking in any industry, especially the music industry, is so important because you never know who can come around, who can need what, or who he can help, or who can help you. Got a phone call one day from a guitarist of a band I recorded at one point in my recording studio that I built because it supported my endeavors.
Mhm.
And I started to make money because we all need to make money. I started recording other bands for a living. He's like, "Hey, can you help get me some bands? I'm the executive producer for a new sound station game called the Sony PlayStation, and our first game is going to be coming out. It's called NASCAR Racing, and we totally dropped the ball with getting music because they want a full audio track for this full blown audio spectrum behind all the racing." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know hundreds of bands. I record, I duplicate. Well, I need it in 3.5 weeks." I'm like, that's not even enough time to get the legal for all that stuff done, let alone get it together, get it mixed down, edited. And so he says, well, I need something. I'm like, not to kind of shine the light on my own thing. I said to him, I says, but I might have some that'll work for you. How many songs you need? He says, 12. I'm like, all right. Well, I just did a 10-song album that we thought were going to get signed to A&M Records. It didn't happen. I says, but it's really good music. It is music that sounds like you drive a car 150 miles an hour to. I says, maybe I can remix it and take out the vocals and quickly write 2 riffy songs. That could potentially happen. And so we talked money, made sense. My eyes lit up. And a month later, he was 3.5 weeks later to a month, he had the 12 tracks ready to go. And those tracks were on Sony PlayStation's
Hmm.
NASCAR Racing.
Wow.
And, PlayStation was new. This was 1996, 95, maybe 96. It was new at the time. And, no one really knew what to expect. But I do know this. When the game finally came out and people were loving PlayStation and loving um, the game got okay reviews, but the audio got rave reviews. They kept saying, PC game, best soundtrack in any racing game, bar none. That's quite a quote. That's quite a quote to get under your belt.
Oh,
So
without a doubt. Without a doubt. I'm gonna have to play my son's PlayStation. I'm gonna see if he has that. I'm
you
gonna
gotta
be
you gotta
playing that.
find the original NASCAR racing, correct?
Right. Wow.
And I was supposedly gonna get NASCAR Racing 2, 3, Formula One, Superstock, but as like with any record deal, because Sony was going through a company called Papyrus, which was a division of them that did game development. Um, I lost my A&R rep. They let him go, or he got replaced within like 6 months. And then the new rep came in. I'm like, okay, I got 6 more games to do. Oh, we're going to take a different route this year. We're going to buy equipment and do it in-house.
Oh.
I'm like,
Ugh.
okay.
I hate when that
All right.
happens.
But you know what? I was so into playing live. I didn't try to hang my hat on, I'm gonna be writing music jingles and soundtrack for games for the rest of my life. A lot of people would make a big chunk of money like I did and think, oh my God, it's the Holy Grail. Still, I stayed true to, okay, focus back on my band, focus back on my own songwriting, focus back on releasing my own music, and just, try to make it.
Right, exactly, and that you have. And one thing that I have been most impressed with is that you actually found the time to write a book called Spirits in the Radio. So if you want to tell us about that.
Oh yeah, Spirits on the Radio is kind of cool. Everybody says these things like, "Oh man, that's a sign. That's so cool. Oh man, that's coincidence. Well, that's freaky. Or I saw a robin today." Everybody kind of has their version of what they consider signs. Well, I lost my parents young, and occasionally I would get what people refer to as a sign, and I'd be like, that's so strange. That sign happened this way, and my sign always seemed to happen via music.
Hmm.
And the short and sweet of it is this. Say me and you were talking right now, and because we're cousins. Hey, I remember your mom, Auntie Ann, loved that song, "Yellow Rose of Texas." Oh man, yeah, she used to play that all the time. Blah blah. Okay, that's it. We stopped talking. We finished this interview. You sometime within the next day, you hear that song on the radio. You haven't heard that song in years, but you're like, look, so you stop, you look at the radio, like, what are the odds of that song coming on right after we just talked? Well, I kind of treat it like it's an energy projection. I do believe it's a nod from the other side, whatever the other side would be, whether it's a dimension, whether it's the unknown, or whether it's life and death. And then I started actually delving into a lot of the stuff. The term is called ADC, after death communication. And uh, I won't not believe in anything, if that makes sense. I hope I just said that right. I'm not gonna sit and say, "I'll believe everything," but I have no reason to doubt things. Like, if someone says, "Oh, I saw a ghost," oh, I believe them. If someone says this happened, I have no reason not to believe them. I decide with my own experience what I do not believe, or what I think will or will not affect my life, or what I wanna put any time or effort into. But I had so many of these uncanny observations. I'm like, "Okay, something's going on," and I'm a realist. Realist is basically, okay, I'm not gonna doubt something that's so painfully clear. It might not be able to be explained fully spiritually or fully scientifically, but something's going on here. So I'm like, okay, so stop paying attention. Carry a little notepad, write things down as I notice, see if they all start forming messages. And they did. And that's kind of what the book's about. Einstein's the guy that told us energy does not die ever. It just changes form. So if it's kind of true, and there are some people with a lot of religious overtones that would really get upset, blasphemy or this or that, thinking that, well, what's he saying? You can talk to the dead. No, I didn't say I talked to the dead. I said I do believe there's some kind of energetic electrical messages that happen, whether it's happening simultaneously or from the future or from the past, or it's all happening at once. I don't know. You don't run your life by them, but you pay attention and smile when it's time to smile. Heed warnings if it seems like it's a warning, or try to pay attention to what that message may be with what it is you think you're experiencing. So that's the book. The book is really, I guess it's more like a memoir of me just telling the weird things that happen. I would love to say that I'm this great entrepreneur that loves music, but I give a lot of my, I'll just flat out say it. I believe my parents from beyond kind of like treated me like a little, cue ball on a table and bumped me around a little bit to get me in the right direction. Put the right people in my life at the right time, put the right happenstance. Things could happen to kind of get me to the next level of, well, living life, enjoying life, making a living, and, just trying to make the best out of this thing we call life.
I love it. Well, that ties into one of the original podcasts that I produced with Techie Talonzo called "Time." Life is that incredible journey from the womb to the tomb, and what happens in between is something called time. Things I must experience, and it's obvious to me that you have experienced so much, and you've just lived a great life, and affected so many lives with your attitude, with your music, with your writings, that you are truly, truly an incredible person.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
No, seriously. But by the way, as we start to wind down, how can our listeners in Paul Ponders land get a copy of your book, Spirits in the Radio? Is that on Amazon?
It is. Yeah, it's an audiobook on Amazon. And wherever Amazon does the digital books. I do at the Shot of Poison shows, I typically do bring out some hard copies to sell at shows. Sometimes people want them signed or something. And my website, www.brucebennettrocks.me. So it's my name, brucebennettrocks.me. I do believe you can still order some online there, but it seems to me the world has gone digital. People want everything,
Sure.
like that.
Right. The instant access to the knowledge and everything. So, what do you have coming up for any concerts with Shot of Poison? What do you
So
have?
Shut Up Poison. We just came off of. I did 7 shows in 9 days, and so it's a very quiet end of the month in September. We have we're doing a local show in New England and Connecticut in October. We're doing in the Ritz Theater in Scranton, PA in November. One more local show in December, and then we're already starting to book the biggest shows for next year. We have some big announcements for next year. Bucket list items for me. Can't really say things until they're actually firmed up, but we're weekend warriors. We'll do 18 to 22 shows a year, which is it's almost like 2 shows a month, something like that. But they don't always happen perfectly 2 a month throughout 12 months. Like, we had, 7 shows in August and none in September, 1 in October. So, the phone does ring, and we're at a position, fortunately, where if the show makes sense, whether it's last minute or a month away, we'll do it. If not, we'll try to only stick and play with the shows that make sense. But I will say I'm very happy with the tribute. We do a kick butt version of Poison. We just celebrate the music of Poison. And that 80s rock, man, I grew up on it. A lot of us at our age grew up on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so fun to play it and still experience it. And keep in mind, Poison is still together. By the way, next year, 2026, is their 40th. Can you believe it? 40th anniversary. And they're still all together.
That is awesome.
And, they sold 55 million records, 10 hits, 1 mega number 1 hit song. Every Rose Has Its Thorn. So it always makes for a fun show when we play it.
Wow, that is awesome. Well, Bruce Bennett, I want to thank you for being on Paul Ponders, and I want to invite you on to the Paul Ponders on WATD 95.9 show when you're ready to make that special announcement towards the end of the year for what's happening in 2026. How does that sound?
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great.
That's awesome.
A lot of people are going to want to travel to Florida to see this. I'll give you a hint.
Okay, there's a little tease there.
I'll give you a hint.
Bruce Bennett, cousin Bruce Bennett, I want to thank you for being on, and you have a great rest of the day. And again, how do our your website again?
Yeah, www.brucebennettrocks.me, and then they can always reach me out at shotofpoison.com, www.shotofpoison.com.
Wonderful. Bruce, thank you.
Pleasure.
#indeed. I trust that you have enjoyed Paul Ponders. Again, my name is Paul Solano of PS&All Marketing Group, and I may be reached via email at paul@paulponders.com to do some more pondering. Many thanks to my longtime collaborative friend and associate, Chalonzo Amos of Pod Pro Entertainment, in bringing you our fun, exciting, informative podcasts. You rock, Techie Chalonzo. With PS&All Marketing Group, I created a side gig to connect you and get things done. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me at paul@paulponders.com with any questions. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Paul Ponders. Follow us on Twitter at Paul Ponders Pod. Follow us on Instagram at Paul Ponders Podcast. Thank you again for listening to hashtag Paul Ponders, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our website, paulponders.com, or wherever you stream your podcasts. Subscribe, stream, rate, and review our shows. Your ratings and reviews help our show reach new audiences. Produced by PodPro Entertainment. Hashtag Paul Ponders lives within a network of podcasts located at podproentertainment.com. Hashtag the new radio. Until we meet again, my friend, stay well. Hashtag indeed.